Welcome, Transformer fans. My name is Composite Enerjoe, and today I'll be bringing you my review of the Transformers Beast Wars Transmetals Deluxe Class Rattrap. And here he is in his Beast mode, which is a sort of cybertronic rat, or a robotic rat, which is really cool. Very nice. It's fairly show accurate, which again, it's always points for me when you go for accuracy. Just a very, very nice looking figure. Articulation, the rat itself, I think you can kind of wiggle his feet a little bit. And that's about it. And this can kind of move. But what does have articulation is the whole tail. As you can see, there's like swivels on everything. There's like joint. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 swivel joints in this tail. So and even the tip has another joint, so 9. So you have another tip there. So you can have a wide range of movement with this tail. That is impressive. I think the only thing that would be more articulated would be if these were all ball joints, but that would be nuts. Instead, they kind of went with a different direction of, I guess, a more stable, like, hinges. It's an interesting choice, but I mean, it works. You can do any pose and it holds it. So it's actually more stable than ball joints. So yeah, that's it for articulation. Outside of that, he doesn't really move much. And that's it for his standard beast mode. But like all Transmetals, he has a sort of travel mode, or like a beast vehicle mode thing. And Rattrap here has it too. And he did use it on the show. Let me put that back. And how to get to this is actually quite simple. You pull out these wheels that do rotate. These are his wheels. You fold in his rat legs, his beast legs in there. Then you just have it like this out. That's it. Next up, you bring these up. You finagle these and bring these up, so that these wheels are facing downwards and his front paws are in the air, are facing up. Hold on, adjust it some more, and that's pretty much it. The last thing to do is to actually get your nail in here and bring out these exhaust pipes. Like so. And that is pretty much it. The tail, I think on the show, was just sort of pointing out like this. But what I like to do to sort of condense it a little more is to have it be forward like this. This is how I sort of show this off. But in the show, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like this, with the tail like swinging behind. Like this. And like this. And yeah. So this is his sort of a vehicle mode. His travel mode, I think is what I call them. But yeah. And he rolls quite well on the big wheels and even the little wheels. They all roll quite nicely. Yeah, that's actually a really cool mode. And like I said, in the show, he does do this. Alright, so that's about it for that. So let's get on with his actual transformation. And funny enough, doing this is sort of halfway to his robot mode anyway. You just gotta put this back up like so, or bring these up. Then you come down here. Then you, what was the next step? You split the head. Rotate forward for clearance. You unpeg the feet and bring it out. Then for the feet, you rotate them forward. That's pretty much the lower half. And then you rotate this out. Then you pull out this arm, rotate it out. And then you're supposed to bring this entire assembly down and to peg this into there. And well, before you do that, make sure you pop up his robot mode head and feed it through the center. Feed it through the center, and then you bring this down and peg it in. And then you just adjust everything else. Then you adjust these, which are on ball joints. Okay. Over the main sort of bits of transformation are done. You just got to sort of finagle the rest of it. There we go. Come on. Stay in there. Pretty sure the wheels are supposed to be up. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, they're supposed to be pointing up. There we go. So pointing up. And then in the back, there we go. There we go. So this is more or less it. This you just sort of have it back here. Come on. There we go. Like so. Straighten out the arm. Straighten out the tail. And if you're wondering, this is removable. So you can remove this. But it's supposed to be like there for his transformation. This is what holds the tail. So yeah, and make sure everything is in place, compact everything, and oh, not too far forward, and there we go. And here we have Transmetals Rattrap in his robot mode, and it's pretty cool. It's fairly show accurate. The colors are a bit off. And there's actually one sort of physical attribute that is completely wrong here. And that in the show, this entire back piece rotates upside down. Like it's upside down on the figure. The wheels are actually supposed to be up here behind his shoulders. But outside of that, and like the color scheme is not 100%. Because his brain, I'm pretty sure, is supposed to be like a blue or something. Or was it orange? I don't remember now. The color might be right, but the design is a little bit off. But it's still fairly accurate. Again, the most glaring thing is that the wheels, these pieces should be up top here instead of on the bottom. But that aside, it's still a fairly accurate representation of the show figure, which is pretty cool. Again, I always give points for that. And yeah, here is his robot mode. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. For articulation, the head can swivel. The arm is on a ball joint with a swivel at the shoulder. There's a ball joint and swivel at the shoulder. A very nice elbow at his arm. Well, there's a nice bend at the elbow. His other arm is the same. The tail now turns into a whip weapon. And I believe... I don't remember if he ever used this on the show. I think he did. But he used other weapons, I think, after a certain point. Like... the whip wasn't his only weapon, and the whip has the same amount of articulation. His legs have a ball joint, swivel there, even bend at the knee there, and up and down at the foot. And that is it. And that is it. Also, down here is where you have his Energon chip, which is a rub sign, which is supposed to reveal that he's maximal. And that's it. So yeah, he's got quite a bit of articulation. His weapon is really cool. So yeah, this is a pretty solid figure. Yeah, very solid, a pretty solid Transmetal figure. He's worth getting. I don't really have much to say. He's a solid figure. Cool. What is it? Cool beast mode. One of the few what I would consider to be solid sort of vehicle modes. And a pretty solid robot mode. He is a solid figure. That is the adjective that I'm using today, is solid. He is a solid, decent figure. Especially like such an old one too, but that aside, he's a pretty good figure. For size comparisons, here we have Ratchet and Cliff Jumper. And as you can see, Ratchet here is a little bit taller than old Rattrap here. So yeah. Overall, he's solid. I think I've said that word way too much now, but that's what he is. The one interesting fact I want to point out is that on this figure, for I think all Transmetal figures that were sort of released here in the West, on their bodies they stamped their names, like the name of the characters on them, like on Cheetor, on his on his collar, you can read Cheetor on the Transmetal figure. For this specific Rattrap, on this piece here, it's supposed to say Rattrap. I looked it up and it's supposed to say Rattrap. However, it's on my figure, it says Cybertron. And I found that odd. So when I looked into it, I found out that the original Takara figures in Japan, their Transmetal figures said Cybertron, and said, with I think a couple of exceptions, they didn't say the name of the figure. It just said Cybertron. And so I think that the figure that I'm holding here might be an original Takara figure and not the original American one, where it says Rattrap on it there. So yeah, that's an interesting fact about this figure that I have, that this is probably the Japanese one instead of the American one. That's a fun fact in and of itself. So now you know that in Japan they say Cybertron instead of their names, with I think a couple of exceptions. But yeah, so overall, solid figure. Last time I'm going to say it. This has been my review of the Transformers Beast Wars Transmetals Deluxe Class Rattrap. This is Composite Enerjoe signing off. Peace out.